One narcissist in particular dominates my brain more than others, um, even in no contact. Um, it's definitely the one that uh, controlled me the most, um, intimidated me the most, and who I was around the most. One of my parents is what I'm talking about, but I don't know how to get them out of my head successfully. I don't know how to do that. Even with the knowledge I have and uh, being no contact, I still struggle with them in my mind. They're still in my head still, and I admit that. They were a very dominating presence for most of my life. So I think that's why I struggle with it still. Um, they really they really made me feel pretty helpless, I guess you could say. Um, like an opponent that I didn't know how to beat, or if they could ever be beat, or um, that kind of thing. Because I didn't even know no contact was the answer. You know what I mean? Like of beating them, I didn't know that. I didn't have that knowledge, but I do know one thing. Uh, Anything that's head on or face to face doesn't work. Uh, you end up losing and getting worked and messed with psychologically if you do anything head on. Um, so anything head on doesn't work uh, against this opponent. Uh, it's a crazy opponent in that way that any head on verbal talking argument, anything head on doesn't work against this opponent. So remember that. Unless you want to just take them out, that's your decision. That's your decision. Like actually, really, just had enough of them and just risk going to prison. Or go to prison for you know getting revenge, so to speak, physical revenge, um, head-on revenge. If you choose to go that route, I don't recommend that. If you want any kind of a future, um, they kind of set it up to a point where if you do get revenge head on, uh, you will get uh, prosecuted. You won't get away with it. So you know what I'm saying. So if you are gonna go the revenge route, you gotta you gotta be fully healed, and you gotta do it kind of from a distance, and you gotta do it really tactfully, um, without actually physically taking them out. You're like diminishing their false construct. You're destroying their false construct, uh, and leaving themselves with what they really are, exposed. That's probably the best revenge you could do, in my opinion, because you can get away with that kind of a thing. Uh, there's no, there's nothing against destroying a false construct. You know what I mean? There's no law that says you can't expose a false construct of a person. You know what I mean? So just think of it that way. Um, you're not physically taking them out, like physically taking them out, but you are taking them out. Like the construct is diminishing, and that's the most ideal revenge you could do, in my opinion. The smartest revenge, and you won't. There's no law against exposing them that way, so you won't go to jail for that. Um, so, but make sure you're fully healed before you start to uh, before you start a real revenge campaign against them. Make sure you're fully healed. You've been no contact for a long time. You're in a strong position of a location where no one knows where you're at. No one knows where you live, and you've been healing for a long time, and you're solid. When you're solid, that's when, if you want to run a revenge campaign, that's when you do it. It's when you're fully healed, been no contact for a long time, maybe 10 years, you're completely recovered, you're completely solid, and you can then run a revenge campaign tactfully from there. And that's what I advise if you do want to go that route. Some people just go no contact for the rest of their lives and that's it. But some of us, like probably myself, want to eventually, when we're fully healed, run real revenge that destroys the narcissist construct. You know what I mean? You're really hitting them with criticisms, narcissistic injuries. You're destroying their construct to everybody. You know what I mean? From a distance, pretty much tactfully, and from a fully healed state. And when you're doing the revenge campaign, you have to be devoid of emotion. That is key. Do everything devoid of emotion while you're doing it. That's pretty important if you want to be successful in exposing their false construct, so to speak, to everybody. Pretty much expose what you already know they are to everybody, from a distance, from a healed distance, from a safe distance, that kind of thing. But anyways, kind of got off topic there, uh, but yeah, it's crazy how they can still be in your head even after no contact for a little while, for like 8 months. They can still be dominating in your head even after like 8 months. It's crazy how it still goes, at least for me. It's almost like my brain is so used to being dominated by certain individual, you know, that it doesn't know anything else, and it doesn't know that it's free. It's free to make decisions now on its own. Uh, you're not controlled. You don't have to, my brain doesn't really know that it's really safe. You know what I'm saying? Uh, because it wasn't safe for a very long time. It was not safe for a very long time, and my brain kind of just numbed out, around certain individuals. Um, but yeah, that's just one of my struggles, is just overcoming uh, them being in my head. Even in no contact, I have to overcome them being in my head somehow, and get them out of my head and focus on different things, uh, like a real future of without thinking about a narcissist, you know what I mean? Coming to get me, um, type of a thing. So, anyways, it's just something I have to figure out and overcome this fear, I guess you could say it is, or terror, of how they get in my head. Uh, Even after no contact, they're still in my head. I don't, probably because I was uh, controlled by them for so long. So, anyways, it's just something I have to overcome. So, eventually, or hopefully soon. And so I'm living a life with no narcissist in my head, living rent free. You know, basically, that's the goal. Just live my life with no narcissist in my head, living rent free. Um, and I know other survivors have pulled this off. They have pulled this off, so it's not impossible um, to achieve. So, uh, anyways, just takes work, I guess, or more time um, to get mentally stronger or something. Um, Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Later.